What's up, y'all? Big Herc 916, and I want to say thank you for tuning in to another episode of this game. You know, I try to keep you guys laced up and dropping jewels on you, and hopefully you guys could avoid a lot of the pitfalls that I made in my life. If you haven't got a chance to subscribe, please do so, and also shoot me a message and let me know what you guys would like me to talk about. If you have a particular topic, I'll try to make a video about it, and that way, you know, we could all share in on a conversation. Also check out BigHerc916.com for more on life coaching, fashion, fitness, and all that. So I look forward to hearing from you. I want to talk about who's your role model and how important a role model is in your life. You know, growing up, you know, initially my biggest role model was my mom. I never met my real dad. My stepdad was a piece of shit. So my mom was like probably the biggest influence on my life. She had me real young, so we were pretty close. And, you know, she kind of had the biggest influence on me. So I didn't really have a male role model. My grandfather was around because, you know, we spent a lot of time at my grandparents' house, but he didn't have a whole lot of conversation. So I was left to my own, you know, my own creation as far as who I, you know, was influenced by. So I got into different things, you know, I got into, you know, skateboarding. You know, I used to look up to Tony Hawk, Tommy Guerrero, Jesse Martinez, Christian Hosoi, all these guys. I wanted to be a professional skater. Never really got to hang out with those guys, but, you know, I kind of looked up to them through the magazines and stuff like that. Then I got into BMXing, you know, thought I wanted to be a BMXer, you know, ride bikes, you know, in the dirt and do all that cool stuff. And I just kind of like tried to figure out where I want to be in life. I didn't really have any particular direction. Nobody really pushing me in any particular, you know, format. So I had to kind of come up with my own format when it came to how I was going to go about, you know, kind of mapping out my life. You know, no, I didn't have anybody teaching me how to play football or baseball or basketball. All these things I learned on my own. So after I went through the phase with, you know, the skateboard and BMX, I got into basketball, you know, football a little bit, but never really had the support of anybody in my family. I had to pretty much go do that on my own, practice on my own, you know, try to learn how to shoot and dribble on my own. So, you know, it was pretty rough, man. You go through and you're trying to build your confidence up, and you're trying to find something to measure yourself against, and it can become a daunting task. It can become you know, intimidating. So you know, I did that, and then, you know, some things happened in my life, and mom's moved, and, you know, we up in the hood, and then my role models became the guys I seen riding up and down my street with the Jerry curls, with the perms, you know, Regal on D's, Cutlasses on Trues and Vows, Caprice Classics, you know, box Chevs, you know, 5.0s, you know, the guys who were hustling, the guys who, you know, looked like they had the money, they had the girls, you know, the drug dealers. These became my role models. And this is kind of what I kind of decided to model myself after in my early teens. You know, I was a straight A student, but then I went off that path and wanted to start hustling. So, you know, mom to go to work, and I go to hustling. You know, I babysit my brother and sister during the day and sell drugs at night. And that's how I got caught up in that whole, you know, the fast life. You know, I got kind of enthralled in that, and it kind of took me in a whole nother direction. Everybody else in my family was squares. You know, they tried to put it down on me, but I wasn't listening. You know what I mean? I was a young knucklehead, repping the neighborhood. You know, had a couple big homies I looked up to that was, you know, putting in work, and I wanted to be that little nigga putting in work. So that's the direction I went into. You know, I wanted to get out of the hood eventually. That's why I got into drugs. You know, I used to look at GQ magazine, and I watched the movie Wall Street with Michael Douglas, and I thought maybe one day I could be one of those guys on Wall Street, or you know, be one of those guys in GQ magazine in a clean ass suit, you know, pushing a Lotus or a Maserati, but I didn't know how I was gonna get there. Fast forward, you know, a couple cases later, in and out of jail, I go to the pen and I meet my first real male role model. Another brother, you know, who was in there doing 20-something years, very sharp, very articulate, you know, well-spoken, had the Ferrari Testarossa back in the day, the Porsche Speedster, BMWs, Mercedes AMGs. He had all that shit in the 80s. He was balling before he got cracked. And he taught me a lot about being a man and about having some type of, you know, some type of self-dignity, you know, some type of pride about myself and value. And the more I talked to him, the more I got rid of a lot of the negativity, the hate, the anger, and I started really coming into my own skin because I didn't understand who I was as a black man or as a human being. You know, I was confused. You know, I didn't really understand my persona because nobody ever taught me these things. And this brother, man, had a dramatic impact on me and changed my life. So, you know, role models, man, you know, mentors, it's very important. You know, if you have the opportunity to mentor somebody, to be a role model to somebody, take the time to do so and help that person and guide them, because it can make a world of difference. And man, if I would have had a mentor when I was 13, 14, 12, I wouldn't have did a lot of the shit I did. You know, I would have valued myself higher, and I probably wouldn't have been out there running the streets, you know, gang banging and doing all the dumb shit I was doing, you know, because I just thought that, hey, this was the thing to do. So, you know, youngsters out there watching this, I know a lot of times you like all this old nigga talking this shit, you know, blah, 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 blah. But I'm just keeping it real, man. I've been there. I've done it, man. I've done everything you done plus some. And I got cases behind a lot of this shit. A lot of you little young niggas, man, ain't never been in the heat of things like I've been in, man. And you ain't never really done a lot of shit. You might have rode around with a motherfucker, but you ain't never put in the work. And if you had put in the work, you wouldn't be talking about it on IG. You know what I mean? You wouldn't be running around talking about it on Twitter. So I say that to say, hey, man, keep it real. Find you a good mentor, role model. And hopefully I could be a role model to a lot of you guys out there so you can do the right thing in life. Big Herc 916.